Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really dramatic first-hand medical crisis. It was experienced by Guy Zhifeng, the founder of the Lifechanyuan community. And honestly, this intense personal emergency completely turned his view of Canadian society upside down. We're going to be looking at a fascinating piece of source material written by Guy Zhifeng himself. He documented a harrowing 17 days that challenged his deepest preconceptions and ultimately sparked a brand new philosophical vision. Now, you might be wondering what those preconceptions were. Well, before this crisis, Guy Zhifeng basically expected a harsh, unforgiving capitalist system. But his on-the-ground reality during a literal life-or-death situation, it flipped that assumption totally upside down. We're going to look strictly at how his firsthand experiences led him to this definitive conclusion, relying entirely on his own documentation of the events. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the medical emergency itself, step inside the Canadian hospitals, look at the shocking final bill, examine the egalitarian society it exposed, and finally dive into his new Lifechanyuan vision.
All right, part 1, a medical emergency. Let's look at how the system actually responded when everything suddenly kicked off on the morning of August 5th, 2020. Over just 17 days, his partner, Wang, was transported hundreds of kilometers across British Columbia. I mean, it's a frantic timeline. It started with an ambulance from their community in Lac-La-Hache down to a local hospital in 100 Mile House. Then, by 1 a.m. the very next morning, she's transferred to an intensive care unit in Kamloops. Fast forward a few days, and she's moved again to Kelowna for a highly complex double heart surgery. Then back to Kamloops, back to Kelowna, before finally, mercifully, returning home on August 22nd.
So the crucial point here is the sheer massive scale of the response required just to keep her alive. Zhifeng calculated that over 80 doctors and nurses, 80, across 3 different hospitals were directly involved in her treatment. He described this scene of constant intensive care. We're talking 4 to 6 infusion tubes supplying IV medications around the clock, daily blood tests, electrocardiograms, and real-time video imaging of her heart. It was a massive medical mobilization.
Moving on to part 2, inside Canadian hospitals. Beyond the intense medical procedures, Zhifeng was really struck by the environment of the hospital itself. He actually described Wang's hospital bed as a cartoon transformer. And honestly, it's a great analogy. It didn't just mechanically adjust its height or angle. It had a built-in digital weight display, and this absolutely blew his mind, an instant, real-time voice translation device. So when the nurse spoke English, the bed translated it into Mandarin audio for them, and when they spoke Mandarin, it translated it right back into English. Just like that, all the communication barriers were completely gone. But, it wasn't just cold, futuristic technology. He documented these incredible micro details of just humanizing care. The hospital chefs provided custom-printed menus with full nutritional info for every single meal. Get this, during one of the transfers, a doctor from the 100 Mile House Hospital actually drove over 3 hours just to accompany Wang to the Kelowna hospital and even left his personal phone number. Later, when Zhifeng was driving himself to Kelowna and fell behind the ambulance, a nurse tracked his progress by phone. She was literally waiting at the hospital entrance to guide him directly to the operating room the second he pulled up. Even their discharge was seamlessly coordinated. They anticipated needs before the couple even realized them. Before leaving, a nurse assessed their home setup, asking about stairs and bathroom safety. When she found out they didn't have a shower stool, the nurse directly contacted the local Red Cross. By the time Zhifeng went to pick it up, the paperwork was done and the equipment was just waiting there. So smooth. Which brings us to part 3, the shocking final bill. Multiple long-distance ambulance transfers, high-tech care, a double heart surgery. What's the price tag for all of this? Well, Zhifeng was informed by knowledgeable sources that the total cost for this extensive, high-tech medical intervention was roughly 600,000 Canadian dollars. I mean, that is a staggering amount of money. It's equivalent to millions of RMB. It's an amount that Zhifeng frankly admitted would have left him entirely bankrupt and living on the streets. But right here is where his worldview truly shifted. The actual amount Zhifeng and Wang had to pay out of pocket for the entire 17-day ordeal, including the ambulances, the private rooms, the specialized food, the surgery, it was absolutely zero. Zilch. The Canadian government bore every single cent of those costs. Okay, part 4, an egalitarian society. This profound financial shock prompted Zhifeng to look much closer at the underlying equality of the broader society around him.
He was just deeply impressed by the egalitarian nature of the care. He observed that a wealthy mayor and a homeless citizen received the exact same treatment. He noted explicitly that there's absolutely no need for special connections to secure a good doctor, and zero need, or even opportunity to offer cash bribes, what's often referred to as red packets, to guarantee quality care. The system treats the citizen, not their wallet.
And looking beyond the hospital walls, he really marveled at the broader Canadian social safety net. He pointed out that seniors over 65 receive pensions of nearly $1,200 a month, and the government actually provides caretakers for those who need help. He noted the generous child tax benefit, bringing in over $600 a month per child until age 18. He even marveled at the infrastructure. He noted that in 3 years of driving on the highways, he hadn't encountered a single toll booth. Furthermore, he observed a striking lack of state friction in his daily life. As a Chinese immigrant running a small hotel, he reported facing absolutely zero racial discrimination. On top of that, he noted he had never been harassed or subjected to unprompted checks by government officials or police departments in all his time operating his business. To him, the state was entirely supportive, not oppressive. And that brings us to part 5, the Lifechanyuan vision. All of these firsthand observations culminated in a highly enthusiastic new vision for his own community. Concluding that Canada operates remarkably like his ideal Lifechanyuan international family, a system he described as a very communistic society in the purest, most supportive sense, Fong made a pledge. Having benefited so much from the country, he decided to build a local home for 300 Chanyuan Celestials. His intention? For their values to take root and contribute to what he described as an abundant, just, and free society. Ultimately, this explainer leaves us with a fascinating final thought to consider. How do high-stakes personal emergencies fundamentally reshape our deepest political and philosophical views of the systems around us? Guy Jiafeng's journey from a life-threatening medical emergency to a profound appreciation of an egalitarian society is a really powerful testament to how direct experience can entirely rewrite our worldview. Thank you so much for following along with this explainer today, and keep questioning the systems around you.